Damn. Yeah.
Radio Rahim here with Frank Warren. I'd like to say on a victorious morning, but it's a draw. Does it feel victorious to you?
It feels a robbery. It's a robbery. It's a robbery, highway robbery. No, look, it was victorious in as much that Tyson Fury showed, what he's all about and where he came from. And we've all, it's been well documented, all these problems and so forth, and that tremendous achievement he's, in getting to where he's got to. And then to have that taken away from him, I mean, it's probably been one of the greatest comebacks in boxing for a guy to be out the ring, suicidal and so forth, the drug problems and whatever, and then just snatched off of him. It's not right. It's not correct. How that Mexican judge gave the first 4 rounds of that fight to Deontay, I don't know. And I don't want to take nothing away from Deontay. I mean, he's a really good guy, and I really do like him. But he didn't win no first 4 rounds. I mean, Showtime, I think, had him up 5-1 in the first 6 rounds. So it wasn't right. It just was not right.
Now, I ask if it felt victorious because I was fairly certain you were going to consider it a robbery, but with all that you've been through to get Fury back to this point, the many conversations we'd had where I doubted you could do it even. I said that, and you accomplished exactly what you said you would, but not only did you get him back in the ring, get him a title shot, but then he performed in the way that he did. Is that at least some kind of cold comfort that you saw your man do his best, maybe his best in his entire career after all that he'd been through before?
Yeah, that way it is. I mean, I'm pleased for him because, what's been taken away from him is history. That historical comeback with the win. That's what I'm disappointed for him for. For him as a performance and as a warrior that he is. I mean, I thought he was out cold in that last round. I mean, he was laying there, and it was like somebody electrocuted him, and he jumped up. And it was like the Terminator being recharged, and he jumped up and come back and won the end of the round. Right. He is an absolute fighter. He's fighter from top to bottom. You cut him in half, it would say inside fighter. That's what he is. He's just such a warrior, and that's the best fight, I should think, heavyweight fight they've had in the United States since Lennox Lewis and Klitschko, which was ironically in the same venue.
We know Tyson after fights, and every time you catch him, really, he's a boisterous, funny, jovial guy. He was singing last night. He's not going to let you see the cracks, but he's talked about them. He's been known and has battled with depression. That's on the record. Does it concern you that maybe when the euphoria of the moment and the adrenaline starts to wane and he sets down and realizes, as you've said, and he feels that history has been taken from him, that he might have to battle depression again? Will you have to bring him back from that dark side once this thing kind of calms down?
Well, I hope that's not going to be the case. I mean, as he said, it's always there. There is a button that can be pressed or a switch that can be flicked that can bring it on. But I think the fact that we're all working to get the rematch on, he wants the rematch, the fans want the rematch. He is without a doubt the people's champion. I mean, you go on the social media today, everybody said one. All the people who are well-respected people in boxing had him as a winner. Everybody. I mean, Floyd Mayweather, Teddy Atlas, you go through all the guys who Mayweather. So he's got that comfort. And as I say, we get the rematch on, which it should be even if he had got the win, it still should have been a rematch because it was such a great fight. That hopefully we give him a chance to put the record straight.
Well, I mean, ironically, if he had gotten the win, he would have had no choice but to give the rematch, right? No, contractually.
Would it work both ways? That would have worked both ways. But the fact of the matter is, it's a fight that should be a rematch and deserves to be a rematch.
Well, we know that in boxing, we seldom get what we deserve. Probably by your estimation, there's proof of that last night. So with a draw, you don't have, at least it's a question as to whether or not either side gets the contractual obligation. So where does that lie? Just like, is there any leverage you have to force a draw? I mean, to force a rematch if they don't want it?
The WBC should order it. Their Mexican judge got it wrong. End of story. Order it. That guy's had so much stick on. Everybody's given him get quite rightly saying how bad his judging and scoring was, then they should do it. You know, and Mauricio Sulaiman, he's a Mexican. He's got a Mexican judge there. They need to show that Mexican judges can get it right. Put it right. You know, admit it. So people do have off nights. So he had a bad night, but make it right for Tyson Fury. Make it right for the fans.
Now, in the sense of making it right, we had a draw, and as you said, Tyson's a traveler. He proved it again last night. He traveled to America to face the WBC champion. Is it right then to expect that in the rematch you'll get Deontay Wilder on your side of the pond?
You know, look, Deontay's a warrior. He's no schmuck, is he? I mean, he's a warrior. He's a fighting man. It takes two to make a fight. He made a fight of it last night, and you know he did what he had to do. Why wouldn't he come to the UK? He's a warrior. They're fighters. If Tyson had got the result last night, then the next fight would have been in the UK.
You talked about last night that you would be calling these guys in the morning. I know it's really early. I can't believe we're standing here at this hour on a Sunday. But have you had time to put that call in? Do you expect to speak to Finkel or Al Heyman or someone today about the rematch?
Well, I've never ever spoke to Al Heyman. I don't know. I've never ever met Al Heyman. I mean, I think he's right up there in a penthouse stroking a cat, sitting in a big armchair. I've never seen him. I'll speak to Shelley today.
Do you expect that they will be cooperative? Did you get the sense last night, I mean, you guys were all together, that everybody's on the same page, or is this thing still up in the air?
Look, we're all on the same page for boxing. Why wouldn't they be on the same page? How can no one want that fight not to go on? The networks will want it to go on. The fans want it. If it doesn't go on, it wouldn't go on for one reason. And you ain't got to look to us for that.
And lastly, like you said, I think everybody in the arena, everybody at home, when they saw Tyson hit that floor in the 12th round, thought this fight was done. Actually, was a little concerned for his well-being even. Yeah. So he woke up, they're calling it the Undertaker, the Halloween Michael Myers setup. But when the locker room moment came and the decision had already been rendered, what kind of environment was it there? Were they jovial that he was able to get back to his feet and, by a lot of estimation, win the round, or down?
Very disappointed. His brothers quite rightly, you know, they're a very close family. You know, Shane, certainly brother Shane, they were fuming about it. You know, and everybody calmed it down. And Tyson wasn't happy, but Tyson's, you know, he's got a real good, sensible head on him these days. You know, you heard what he said. You know, it's a good fight, not us. You know, we gave a good fight to the fans. I don't blame Deontay or his team, it's the judges. Of course he's disappointed, but he calmed the situation. And that's, you know, that's a testament to him and the way he is, you know, he is reacting and being these days. It's just great. I mean, you know, he's come so far with his life, and you know, he's a joy to be around, and he's a funny guy, and you know, for me, he's a great fighter to be around. It's a privilege to be working with him.
And as a promoter, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, assuming this rematch does happen, we were in LA this time, pay-per-view, ticket sales, everybody was debating whether or not you guys are going to pull it off, is going to be a success. I don't know what the numbers are now, but how would you go about the rematch, assuming it was in your neighborhood?
Well, let's just first of all, you know, it was all emanating from Hearn, wasn't it? We didn't sell any tickets. They've only sold 8,000 tickets. Well, we know that's untrue. The place was full up. It's the second, so I'm told by Tom Brown, it's the second highest gate revenue for a Staples Center boxing fight. So that's the second highest. And it was going to be a boring fight. It was going to be a real stinker of a fight. Well, it wasn't, was it? An exciting fight. That's all one person putting all that bullshit out. We see what it was. It was great, but we won't be coming back to California again. I thought the commission was terrible, and I mean that, the way they treated so many aspects of what they've done with certainly Anthony Yard out here. I won't be bringing anybody back here, I'll tell you that now.
Perfect world, where does a rematch happen, when, how much time does Tyson need to recover? Like, you know, ideally, from Frank Warren's perspective, how does this look next time?
Well, Tyson's been in the gym constantly now for around 13, 14 months. So I would like to see him back in you know, he wants to take a little bit of time out of his family. He's been over here for, 11 weeks now training. So let him take some time out of his family and we'll get it done in the spring, early spring.
Radio Rahim with Frank Warren. Hopefully we'll be seeing you again in the early spring for this very same setup, but I'll be seeing you before that on your side of the pond. A pleasure to talk to you, man. It was a great night of boxing last night. Can't wait to see this one again. Radio Rahim with Frank Warren.